Okay.
All right.
He's all right. He's all right. Again, my name is David Cunion. I've been the curator of this fine Jones Walker Let Them Talk stage. We've had a great time hearing from musicians and interviewers about the musical process and people's history and stuff like that. We are going to end it with a bang, as we say. We have the great author Maurice Carlos Ruffin right here. Remind me the name of your book because I'm blanking on it. His new book is getting killer reviews. We Cast a Shadow is the name of it. Everybody go and pick it up, okay? This gentleman right here I've known for a little while now, a couple decades. Even though he does live uptown, he is always, to me, going to be the Satchmo of the ghetto west of Tokyo. James Andrews, y'all. Have a seat. Let's go to it.
Well, all right.
I just came to listen. So everybody is familiar with Mr. Andrews. I'll start off calling you Mr. Andrews today.
It's all right, my friend.
So I had one question.
Yeah.
I had one question. You're from this huge and beloved family, this dynasty. People often call it the dynasty. I know you're often asked about your brother and your cousins, but I haven't heard people ask you very much about your grandfather and your uncle.
Oh, we talk a lot about them.
Well, I want to hear more about them. I mean, like, when you was growing up, when you was like, say, 10 years old, what were you thinking when you heard those old albums come on the radio or be played in your household?
It was always good for me because I was always listening to WWOZ. I was always listening to Ernie Cato and Eddie Boo and of course my grandfather and my uncles, Jesse Hill, my grandfather, and my uncles Prince Lala and Papoose, my grandmother brothers. And they played with Fats Domino. They played with Harold Baptiste and all them people.
Were you sure listening to that music growing up that you were going to do the same thing one day?
Oh, I was with Danny Barker, so it was it was always something. I always wanted to be a musician and play music.
Yeah. Were you sure you're going to play a trumpet?
I'm sure I was going to play the trumpet because I wanted to be the band leader.
Okay.
And plus the trumpet is lighter.
Right.
Right?
There's a window back here that stares out onto the courtyard, and I can see a band out there playing. And it's not too hot, but the tuba player's just sweating. I just see him just sweating all over the place. I feel kind of bad for him.
I didn't want to play the tuba. It's too much to carry.
So I was looking up some old interviews, people talking about you in the past, and they said, I want to get it right. Somebody said, and this is just after Satchmo the Ghetto, your great album came out. James Andrew makes music for people who like to get up and dance. How did it make you feel?
It's wonderful to see people dance to something that we create, and it's just that's the greatest part of it, to make people dance. We can play a wedding, we can play a funeral, or we play a convention, and the people dance.
They dance,
and that's when we know we did our job.
Yeah. A little bit of joy. So how about one of the things we're going to talk about today is just being a working musician in New Orleans. This is a very special town. We have this great history that goes back really hundreds of years. And, I mean, I would argue we probably have more working musicians in this town than anywhere, even including New York, Paris, LA, or something like that. But what I want to know is, what was it like when you got started? Like, how did you feel the first time somebody maybe gave you a $5 bill for playing a song or something like that?
Well, it was... First of all, I started off tap dancing in the French Quarter in Shining Shoes when I was a kid.
Right out here?
Right in Bourbon Street over there, in Jackson Square when I was a kid. And so we used to always have people come up to us, and people wanted us to dance, and people took us all over places. We went to the Republicans Convention when they had Ronald Reagan and George Bush was here in New Orleans, and we was there tap dancing for them when they was here.
What?
And we did stuff with Buddy Rich, the great drummer, and we was kids, and and Chris Owen would come get us and take us to gigs with her, and so it was always we were doing something.
So, was there a time in your life where you were doing like non-music gigs, like day jobs?
No.
Always music.
Always music.
Always
yeah.
playing music.
My whole life.
Your whole life.
I never had another job.
Like not even like serving coffee somewhere. Or something like that?
No. I did music.
I gotta ask why not?
Why not? It wasn't for me.
Wasn't for you.
The music, it was my calling.
That was your calling.
Yes.
Man, I like hearing that.
And I did it straight through my whole life.
So, did you ever consider, like, did you ever want to do something that wasn't music?
Sometime when you think like that, you think it's a downtime, and then it gets better.
Yeah. So, you've been doing this for a minute. I mean, at least, like, your whole life.
I've been doing it since I was like 7 years old.
7 years old.
Right.
And also, when I was looking out at this band playing, I saw there was a trombone player out there. And it was his brother, and I'm assuming it's his son, like a little 7-year-old kid with a trombone. The trombone was so big, the kid couldn't even hold it up. Like, he was playing it down like that. And I kept thinking, it's a beautiful thing to see that.
He's passing the torch.
He's passing the torch.
Yeah.
So
we good at that in New Orleans. We, especially my family, we pass the torch on to another generation of people coming, and it's going.
Yeah. You how has the scene changed since you were coming up?
Well, when I was coming up, we had the older bands with the Olympia Brass Band, we had the Tuxedo Brass Band, we had all them older guys, Harold A. John, Greg Stafford, and all them guys. And it was only 2 young bands. It was, my band was the All-Star Brass Band, and we had Rebirth with Kermit and Phillip, Kermit Ruffin and Phillip. So we were the only young people playing music, and the rest of them was the old timers from the Preservation Hall. So we had plenty of room.
How they treat y'all like the newcomers coming in?
Well, they think we the old guys. They say we old now.
It's got to feel a little strange though, because I mean, it was just yesterday. It must feel like you were one of the new kids coming up, looking at the old timers.
It was. You're right. It feels like that. But what happens? I hang out with the younger guys too.
Yeah.
So that keeps me young too.
Does that make you feel good that a lot of these young guys love the traditions the same way you love the traditions?
Well, New Orleans music is well and alive.
Yeah.
It's gonna live on for another generation, and then the other generation will come pick up where these people's leaving off.
Yeah, I wonder about that. Like, it seems like there's a lot of traditions around the world that just sort of die out over time because of popular music sort of taking up all the air. And here, I mean, it just keeps going.
Yeah, well, our tradition is great in New Orleans, and it's well received, it's well appreciated and accepted around the world. I go to Europe 4 or 5 times a year, to the south of France, and play every year. And people celebrate us. When you say New Orleans, it's a feeling that you don't get nowhere. They say New Orleans, everybody want to celebrate with you. Come to my house, I'm cooking for you.
Every time, huh?
They say, I'm cooking jambalaya. I said, no. Cook your food. Don't cook New Orleans for me. I'll get it when I get back.
So you in Italy, you want that spaghetti and meatballs. You don't want the gumbo.
I want that in Italy. No gumbo in Italy. No, give me y'all food, right? And so we travel all over the world. I went to just this year. I come from. I played with the Symphony of Monaco.
Okay.
In Monaco. And so we went to Morocco, we went to Nice, we went to Amsterdam. I even played a wedding at the Vatican.
At the Vatican?
In the 13th Chapel. And so we played a wedding at the Vatican. And after that, we went to Amsterdam, we went to south of France, to Nice, and we did a gig in Provence, and we did a gig in Marseille. And we had Kurt Joseph was over there with his band in Marseille. And so we traveled the world.
Did you imagine you would be doing these sort of things when you was a kid?
Well, I actually knew I would be doing this.
Yeah, you could see it.
Because our first trip out of New Orleans, we went to Milan, Italy, and we got a chance to go to Milan, Italy, and perform in a concert in Milan. And it was and that was my first time leaving New Orleans. Me and my brothers, my other brothers, and we went over there, and my cousins, and we went to Milan. And it's just with the feeling that I got being in Europe the first time. And I said, oh, this is something. I wanted to stay over there, but my mama said, you better get back over here.
You better get back, because your family back here.
Yeah.
Do you find, I heard somebody once say, and I don't know if it's true or not, and I'm wondering your take on this. People often say that in New Orleans, we have so many talented musicians. Like, this is one of the few times you get on the bus, you get on the streetcar, he could probably play a trumpet, play a piano, play a guitar, something like that. Even to the point where there's so many of us that it's almost saturated. So it can be hard for like a gigging musician to try and make a living. And people, I've heard it said that you sort of have to leave home in order to make a living. Is that true?
I guess for some people, but I don't know. It's good. I guess it's changed a little bit over the years, but you can actually make a living right here in New Orleans without leaving. See what we do? We work a lot of conventions and festivals and conventions, and so we make money playing and private stuff, and I guess it's for the people who play a lot in the clubs.
Yeah, right.
I guess.
Right.
I ain't played in a club in a long time.
Right.
Unless we somewhere,
And you have, you must have at least, 7 or 8 live albums after Satchmo?
Got some stuff. You're right about that. I got some albums. Well, every time I go to Europe, I always see a new album. Somebody said, "Will you sign this?" I said, "Well, when I put that out?" When we put this out. I said, "Sign that." I said, "Well, where we got this from?" Right? So we don't know what we got.
Well, that's a nice problem to have. So
as long as we get the royalties.
You ever do any like session work?
All the time, yeah.
So I guess what I'm trying to ask is like I know you play with a lot of local people and a lot of well-known people, but like I know some musicians have this sort of call of like trying to go to Hollywood, for example, or trying to do these special gigs. Do you find yourself being called out to do those sort of things?
No, never. My special gigs would be, I don't know, I guess when the feeling hits you. I like playing in New Orleans. Mostly, I like the feeling of being at a jazz funeral where the feeling is real and raw. We could be in the second line or something where it's raw. We don't have to pretend or try to make the feeling. It's already there.
No, I know that.
So, and you say about Hollywood, there's too much traffic in Hollywood for me.
Yeah.
I like New Orleans, right? We could walk around the city, and it's good food everywhere, good music everywhere. So my thing never been, it's always good to travel and visit them places, but I always love to be back here in New Orleans.
There's no place like it.
I'm not complete until I get back to New Orleans.
I know that. Look, every time I get off that airplane, coming back home from wherever I go to, I feel that swamp air come on me. I just feel happy all of a sudden.
I feel the same way, right? I used to didn't feel right when I go all over the world and travel. I didn't feel right till I get back to New Orleans to get a muffalata or something. Then I'm back in New Orleans. I'm back.
Well, what's your favorite country that you visited so far in all your travels?
Well, let me see. I played in Dubai. I played in Kuwait. I played in Cuba. I played in Haiti. I played in the Dominican Republic. I played in every country in Europe. We played in, I must say, it must be Amsterdam.
Yeah? Really?
It must be Amsterdam.
How come?
Well, you got all them little coffee shops.
Oh, little coffee shops. They have that good coffee.
No, but I like Amsterdam because it's a city you can walk.
It is
I
very
like to
walkable.
walk when I go places, and it's like New Orleans. You can walk in Amsterdam.
I feel that, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there one time. Well,
You
I've been
been?
there twice. Yeah.
Yeah, so I like places you can walk.
Like you almost can't have a car. You have to just like try and walk the whole
Couldn't
time.
drive in that place.
Nah, narrow streets and all
You
that.
better
stuff.
walk, yeah.
You fall in one of those canals, it's over.
And you better not get on no bike over there.
No.
No, because you get the trains and all that. But I like to go places where you can actually walk.
But what about, so I know you have a great love of Satchmo. So I'm gonna take
He's the greatest.
I know he's the greatest, right? So
Yeah.
my curiosity about this is, was he the first person you heard outside of your family who was like, I want to do that one day? What is he to you?
Well, Louie Armstrong is like, I said it before, he's our god for the trumpet. He's our god of the trumpet. And his personality was so spicy. And people celebrate him around the world. He's known
Everywhere.
in every corner of the world. They know Louie Armstrong.
Well, he loved
And they
people so much
associate,
too.
he was a people's person.
Yeah.
And they associate Louie Armstrong with New Orleans
Right.
and everything New Orleans.
It's a funny thing. I had some friends from out of town the other day, and they caught an Uber from the airport. And they said, why is it every time we get in the Uber in New Orleans, the driver just talk the entire time, just like smiling and laughing and like having this conversation? And that's just something about this city and the people of this city, right? And Louis represent that.
Well, Louis had it was spicy. He had a spicy personality, and he had that big smile, and he had a wonderful heart. And his trumpet playing was phenomenal.
Yeah.
He was one of the best trumpet players in the world. And every time you hear his music, it's something fresh.
Well, you always know who it is.
You know,
The second you hear it.
You can distinguish him from any other trumpet player in the world.
But what do you hear, like as a musician, what do you hear in his trumpet that you don't hear in other people's trumpets?
Well, Louie Armstrong play all them high notes, and it was just incredible every time you hear him.
Mm-hmm. You ever thought about trying other instruments?
Excuse me?
Trying different instruments?
Yeah, I play the drums.
No, what I mean is, like, I know you do drums. You sing.
play the
I mean,
drums.
obviously you're a wonderful singer. Like, I've heard
Thank
that.
you.
But like something sort of outside of what you've been doing for the past 20 years, like a violin or
No.
saxophone.
No. Only the trumpet.
Yeah.
I tell you, them instruments too heavy. The trumpet is I can grab it and go, right?
So when you walking around town and you hear like people on the street busking, just playing music on the streets. Like I know in some places, I won't name any suburbs outside of the city, they get upset if they see somebody performing on the street. But here it's totally natural. How do you feel when you see that?
I think it's wonderful because I come from that, playing in Jackson Square. We used to play for tips in Jackson Square. And plus, I wish I could do it again, but I can't do it because it's tax-free.
Yeah.
I'm in a different bracket now,
Congratulations on that.
Scott is
We're
up
happy to
and
hear that.
downs, but I can work it, right?
What about, look, obviously we started out talking about how you're part of, this dynasty of a family. And obviously, expert jazz musician. Are there other genres of music that you are particularly attracted to as a musician?
Absolutely. I listen to everything.
Yeah?
Yeah, I try to stay open and listen to everything. It might be, like I said, I was in Morocco. I was listening to the jazz they play in Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different. It's Arabic, is what they call Arabic jazz. And I was listening to that. Then I listened to everything. I'm open.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is there any music that annoys you?
I don't know. I
Probably shouldn't ask that, but I'm just curious.
No, I can listen to everything.
Pretty much everything?
Yeah.
I mean, like you have some of these kids. Like I noticed one of the difference between a lot of the modern.
Some of that rap get me though.
That's what I'm saying.
And some of that bounce. I could take a couple of songs, then it's too much.
Well, I could see you doing
A
like
little,
a bounce
I mean.
track though.
I could do it.
I can see you doing that.
Yeah.
So I mean, right now, at this stage in your career, your album came out, I guess, 21 years ago now, and
That long?
you ever like look.
Wow.
What do you see yourself doing as you go forward? Like obviously, people love you, you're doing very well, you're traveling a lot. I mean, if you say your name, people just smile immediately. I mean, everybody knows who you are. Where do you see yourself going in the future, in the next 10, 15, 20 years?
Well,
What do you want?
what I want, what do you give a guy like me? I mean, just to keep living and keep playing. And my family, I got my family and my friends. What more I need?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, I know we're going to have a little bit of a Q&A session, but I saw a hand up when I sat down, somebody like put their hand up immediately. So, is there a question in the back? Because somebody seemed very, very enthusiastic about it. Maybe they had stepped off. I don't know.
Don't be shy. We all family here in New Orleans.
So, what is your favorite album by anybody ever, outside of your family? I don't want to implicate anybody in this.
Well, I would say I like Louie Armstrong, of course. All Louie Armstrong music is good to me. I like Fats Domino. I like James Booker. I like the Neville Brothers. I like Cyril Neville music. I like Irma Thomas. I like everybody.
Yeah, it's a strange thing about it because I feel like a lot of young people in this city who don't play instruments, they almost take it for granted. It's like you can just kind of walk out your door and you see Miss Irma, on the stage. I mean, you walk down the street, there's Mr. Neville
You
playing.
can see her in the supermarket or anything. Right?
Anything, all the time. I mean, I probably didn't knock into her by mistake 3 or 4 times in the past 2 years. It feels like.
Well, the thing about New Orleans people and the musicians too, we humble and the people, you can approach the musicians in New Orleans. In some places you can't approach the musicians. It's a ego thing, but New Orleans people, you can walk down the street and say, "Hey, how you doing?"
You didn't bring any bodyguards with you, did you?
No, I don't need it. I'm at home in New Orleans.
What's the most? So I mean, obviously you played everything. What's the most difficult song that you use in your repertoire?
It probably would be that song, La Vie en Rose.
Yeah. Is it because of like the
Kermit said that too. That's the only song he had to read the music to.
I don't understand why. Like, is it the key of it? Is it the rhythm? Like, what is it about it?
it's moving. This song is moving, and it goes to a lot of different places. But if you're gonna play in France, you must know that song.
They expect it.
They expect it. So I think that's one of the songs you gotta pay attention.
You got to pay attention to it.
Yeah. In New Orleans music, we just feel it and flow with it, but them kind of songs, you got to pay attention.
Does a song like that allow you to improvise? I mean, do you feel like you're, I don't know, like on stable footing? I mean, obviously that's what you do commonly with anything that you do.
Improvise.
So you can do it in that kind of a song.
Yeah.
So I always wonder, because I played a stand-up bass a long time ago. I was an orchestral kid. So I was the kind of kid who learned how to read sheet music. And so I was the sort of opposite. I would always have to just go line for line for line, follow the conductor.
No
and
improvise, no
I couldn't improvise at all.
improvisation.
I mean, I always admired cats who could do that
You
sort
were
of
straight
thing.
to the
It
chart.
was total chart,
Yeah.
And I remember one of my cousins was like, well, at least you can read the chart, because he couldn't read the chart, but he could improvise. Do you feel like that your ability to do that today has changed in ways you didn't expect over time? In other words, has it gotten so much easier that it's almost too easy, and now you have to sort of challenge yourself to sort of bring new things out of the music as you're doing it?
No, because I think, especially with me, it's I can hear two notes and then I'm into the whole song, and I could walk up, like I could fly to Europe or something right now, and walk into a place and meet the musicians right now. We don't have to even talk about it, and they play two notes and I'm on the gig.
Is it like in a movie you just know what the note is? Next thing you know, that's it. Like you're in the proper key and you just ready to go?
No, that's it.
That's it?
Yeah, perfect pitch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I was trying to get at earlier this question of working musicians in New Orleans, and I know you got the tax bracket, you move them up and everything like that. But
Yeah, but I'm not bragging about that.
I know
nah.
that it's okay though. It's
Right.
okay. Do you think that a lot of these young people, you think that the stage has been set for them to have the same sort of career as people like you, or like your people from back in the day?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the stage is set for it's dedication to your craft too, though, and it's being around it and respect for what you're learning, and you're always revolving and learning different things.
And the reason why I asked that is I know there've been some changes in the city after Katrina. A lot of the old schools closed now.
Yeah.
We have a lot of charter schools now. I know that there've been some difficulties in some music programs, just not having that same sort of numbers of students playing instruments and stuff. And me as an outsider, I was sort of worried. I mean, I'm from New Orleans, and I would think, well, if you have less schools, that means you have less marching bands.
Right.
You got less marching bands, means you have less people playing these instruments.
Right.
You got less people playing instruments, you're gonna have less musicians coming up in the future. As you look around, does it seem okay to you, is what I'm saying?
Well, we got a renaissance going with the New Orleans brass bands. We got so many people playing New Orleans brass music now, and it's I don't know. Some people say it's oversaturated, but it's good to me. I mean, it's gonna be. That's why I say New Orleans music is alive and well.
If there was a musician from the past you could meet other than Satchmo, or do a set with, who would it be?
I would have to say from New Orleans. I don't know. It's so many people.
It could be anywhere, even outside New Orleans too.
It can be anywhere, probably, or Clark Terry.
How come?
Tito Puente or somebody
Tito Puente?
like that.
I mean, he seemed like he would have been a lot of fun to play with.
He was fun.
Like a hot set, just something's happening right there. Do they still
And we
have?
played in Europe, all over Europe with him, Sweden, Denmark.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. We always played festivals, like the big jazz festivals over there, and they will always be on the shows.
Okay. I've been fascinated by this idea, there's this kind of hidden history of jazz musicians having cutting sessions. So the idea of you being in New York, Chicago, and just going to somebody's house in the middle of the night and playing from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning and seeing who had just the best chops. Do you do that kind of thing?
We used to.
You used to?
Yeah.
You sort of grew out of it, or?
No, I'll be in bed at 10 o'clock now. I can't hang out no more.
I remember when Kermit said he wasn't going to do any gigs after 11 o'clock at night. I was shocked.
That mean we getting old?
Oh, man. Ain't that old.
No, but I mean, when we in Europe, we hang out all night. In Europe, they have jam sessions. We play them festivals in Europe, and everybody have a jam session. Sometimes we do that in Europe.
Do you find that when you travel around the United States, outside of New Orleans, it just obviously you go to Europe, they're like, oh my God, thank you for coming here to play this music. We know the traditions, we know what you do. Do you find that there's a big difference if you say go to, I don't know, like Portland or Northern California?
We played in Portland, man. We played in Conway, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
We played in Deadwood, what is that? South Dakota, yeah. And we played in everywhere. We played at the Snow Marsh Jazz Festival in Colorado. But the appreciation is great for New Orleans all over the world.
Everywhere you go.
We celebrate it.
And the same thing for the food, the same way for the way we talk, the same way for the way we dress.
The music is the most of New Orleans.
So, one thing I wonder is we look at this audience right here, and we have obviously a lot of jazz appreciators, people who love the music. Have you noticed that the audience has gotten even more sort of into it over time, or I mean, are you worried about the future of like the audiences who come out to the events?
No, because the people bring the kids.
People bring the kids.
And the kids dance, so we have new fans, new young fans growing up to New Orleans music.
Is there anywhere that you would like to play you have not played yet? Like a particular venue or a place? Or is it like Johnny Cash, you've been everywhere, man?
You got it. You got it. I played at Buckingham Palace
really?
last year. I played in Albert's Palace, Albert's Hall, over Royal Albert Hall. I played in many places.
So I know you have created several bands over the years. You've been a part of several bands like the New Birth.
New Birth.
Right now you have your All Stars. Is that right?
The Crescent City All Stars.
Crescent City All Stars. So have you had multiple bands going at a time, or do you sort of? All right.
I had about 3 bands at one time.
3 bands at one time. Was that hard?
No.
Nah. Not for you.
That's when I used to stay up all night. But I had the New Birth band, I had the All-Star band, and I was playing with the Tremé Brass Band with Uncle Lionel.
Oh my goodness.
At one time. And plus I had Alan Toussaint, I was working with him.
What was Uncle Lionel like? I met him one time very briefly. I couldn't really talk to him. I'm just some kid, and he's, Uncle Lionel. What was he like?
Oh, we traveled around the world so many places with the Tremé band again. And Uncle Lionel was our bass drummer and our vocalist in the band, and we would travel. We would go to the Carnival in Nice. We would travel to. We went to Jamaica. We've been to Mexico many times. We've been to Europe many times with Uncle Lionel. We've been to South Africa, and Uncle Lionel was always had that personality.
Yeah.
He was our mentor.
Yeah, you could tell. Like even like in the pictures and stuff like that.
And plus, when we was in the Tremé band, we was young, and Uncle Lionel was the only one had money, so he used to loan us money, 50 cents on a dollar.
Wait, 50 cents on a dollar?
He was
He made it like a bandit.
He used to kill us.
What is the current construction of your band? Like how many people and what instruments right now?
Oh, we got Chris Severin on bass, Herman Jackson on drums. We got piano. We got saxophones, trombones, 2 sax, 2 trombones. Sometimes 2 trumpets, another trumpet, and myself. We have a guitar.
How does that differ in your mind from trad? I mean, in terms of like what somebody would have done, 70 years ago in terms of construction of a band.
Well, we have the same layout, but we have a bigger horn section. We have the same layout.
Pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Isn't that something that I don't know, I guess from like the 30s through maybe like the 60s, it was the primary music. Like there's always some cat with a horn, somebody with some drums, somebody playing the bass, and you get that big transition to guitars and then later on keyboards. Do you feel like popular music is losing something by not having as many horns in it? I mean, even in the 80s, you had like a lot of saxophones and stuff like that, but not so much today.
Well, I guess jazz was the pop music of its time, and I think every music have its time.
Yeah, but at the same time, without jazz, you don't have rock. You don't have a lot of this music. All this improvisation and just trying.
Jazz was the foundation of a lot of different genres. Yeah.
Did somebody have a question out there?
You have a question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wondered. Once I got to dance with your mom once.
Oh.
In the street, and then I didn't know who she was, but I just thought, boy, this woman's incredible. then that night I was at Trombone Shorty. He was recording an album at Tipitina's.
Uh-huh.
We're up on stage, and I'm going, wow, that's your mom.
Yeah.
She was so incredible, and I wondered, what was she like a leader of an Indian club? And
No, she was. She was with the Social and Pleasure Club.
Make sure they heard in the back.
She was with the Money Waster
Yeah.
Social and Pleasure Club. My mama, yeah. And she's a baby doll. She's one of the original baby dolls, and she brought the baby dolls back to life. After Katrina, they brought them back. So my mom was very vocal in bringing it back to life.
Those traditions just keep them going, right?
Yeah, she just was the queen of the Mardi Gras parade, Crew Delusion. Loris.
I saw her hand over here. Yes, sir.
Oh, that's Kelly Chapman.
Can we get a copy of your income tax report?
Yeah,
Why not?
I left it at your house. Kelly Chapman.
Tax returns. You're not running for president,
Oh,
are you?
no, Kelly.
So I asked you earlier about who you want to play with. Is there another band you want to play with other than an individual?
I just like to play with anybody.
Anybody, just show up and play with them.
Yeah.
So was there ever a time when, like in your early career, where you showed up for a gig and you just felt a little flummoxed, like, oh my, what's happening here? Like because of the group or like the location, like the air conditioner was too high, there was like a jackhammer outside?
No, I always had a good time.
Always had a good time.
Yeah, always.
So I was also wondering, even though jazz is not quote unquote the most popular music as it had been back in the day, it's still so important to American culture. And so you see, for example,
It's the American art. It's
It's
the
the American-
true American art form. Jazz is the
that's what I was going to ask you.
original art form of America.
Yeah, it's unique. I mean,
It's unique,
we
but
made
it's the
this.
real true art form of American music is jazz.
The artistry, the improvisation.
And jazz was born in America and around the world. What is America famous for? Jazz. It's famous for nothing but jazz.
And then I was reading about, like, in the 50s and 60s during the Cold War, they were using jazz musicians like ambassadors to go to other countries and try and spread goodwill. I mean, obviously, Louie Armstrong was a part of that.
Yeah,
But I feel like even
absolutely.
today people are doing that. I mean, when you represent America when you go to some place like Dubai or something like
Yeah,
that.
we sometimes we do what they call goodwill ambassador tours.
They still do that?
Yeah,
Like, who was that sponsored by? Like, is
the
the
State
government?
Department.
State Department?
Uh-huh.
That must be a lot of
We
fun.
still do them.
Okay.
I don't know if we're gonna do them under Trump, but
Look, I
whatever
was
we
going to
do
say his
'em.
name, but that's all right.
Yeah, but we do them. Sometimes we went to Senegal and played for the King of Senegal on
Really?
the ambassador tour. Yeah,
When at Buckingham, was that for the Queen?
we played at the party they had at Buckingham.
It was a party they had?
Yeah,
And then Albert Hall also.
Royal Albert Hall was a concert.
What were the acoustics like in there? I've always wanted to go in there and like hear a
Well,
concert.
we didn't need no electric.
Really?
No, it was acoustics. It was nice.
It sounded very good.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I think I saw another hand out there. Yes, in the back, please.
Do you have a comment on the escalation of amplifiers and loudspeakers?
And where?
The whole culture.
The culture of New Orleans?
It gets louder and louder and louder.
I think maybe he's asking about this in general musicians.
Amplifier and loudspeakers.
In the music of New Orleans?
I think everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah, but I think some places we would play is one of the only places in the world probably to play with no amplification would be like the Preservation Hall. Or probably this place, you don't need too much amplification. Yeah. So we do play with, sometimes it's nice to play without the amplification, and sometimes it's, we playing in different bigger venues, you need amplification, like a festival. But sometimes I like to play without it, just to get the feeling of the place we play in. Thank you.
So in terms of composing music, I mean, for example, on your beautiful album. So first of all, I wanted to ask before I got to that, the title. Where did the title come from?
Which one?
The first one,
The Satchmo together?
the Satchmo.
Oh,
Satchmo
it was
Together.
a thing where it was a tribute to Louie Armstrong is the Satchmo, and me being from the Treme, it was the ghetto.
Yeah.
So I put them both together, and we
Put 'em
got
both together.
Satchmo the Ghetto. And Alan Toussaint liked that name.
Okay, and,
Yeah.
and he played a big part in your coming up, right?
He did, yeah. Well, he gave me a shot to play And he recorded me with the Newbird Band. Then he come back and did a solo album with me. And then Quincy Jones produced a documentary on me called Satchmo the Ghetto.
Huh. And I'm amazed at how much Mr. Toussaint got around. Like, I mean, I would see him around town in his Rolls Royce, you know, doing his thing. But one of the crazy things I ever heard was there was, I mean, this is going to sound kind of random, so just give me a second, right?
No.
There was this band from the 1970s. It was called like the Fairweather Convention or something like that. Like a sort of folksy, I see some heads. Fairport, excuse me, my bad. And who was the lead singer? Was it like, what? Sandy Denny, that's what I'm thinking about. So you have this sort of British folk band, right? And they have this, you know, interesting album. It's kind of beautiful, but it's like very folky. It's not jazzy at all. And I opened up the liner notes, and he was in there. It was one of the producers. There was a song with like a horn section. He produced the entire horn section for like 2 or 3 songs.
He was good at that.
He could do it for anybody.
Yeah.
And I guess my question was, I know you've obviously composed songs. Do you enjoy composing songs?
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is there anything about it that you find particularly enjoyable?
Well, let me see. When I open the mailbox and be on my I'm joking.
Well, I should say like one of
No,
my...
it's so wonderful to compose music. And plus, I like to compose music, and especially I think the thrill is when you're walking in Walmart or something like that and you hear your music on a loudspeaker in Walmart. It's like,
Definitely.
uh-oh.
But those checks are nice.
Yeah.
So like one of my hidden talents is that I'm actually an attorney. I was an entertainment attorney for a while. And I would see all those stats about, you know, the composer royalties plus like the writer royalties and
And the publishing.
And the publishing. Gotta make sure that's straight.
Yeah. But, you know, it's a great thing to compose music, and plus you're leaving something. It's your legacy.
Right, right.
And people know you from them songs. Or,
Well, it's always going to exist, and then people are going to hear it. It might inspire them to make their own music
right,
too.
and you never know what it might wind up in, a movie, a TV show, or it can be anything. Somebody might record it.
That I saw one of your I think you were on WWOZ and you were playing that Treme TV show song.
John Boutte.
John Boutte.
Yeah.
I actually interviewed him about maybe a year ago. He's a fun dude, obviously.
He's great.
It seemed like when you were playing that song, you were having like extra fun. I'm not sure what it was about that. Like there was a camera on you, and you're like, it's you and your, I think, 6-piece. You did not one solo, but like 2 solos. Like you started off, and the sax came in, you came back, and I was like,
came back.
he into it.
Well, that's a great song John wrote.
It is a great song.
Yeah, and John is a great spirit guy too.
Well, he's just so nice.
He's very nice, and he's my friend too.
Well, I can see that. You know, like birds flock together, right?
We used to go to John's house when he was living by the voodoo shop, and he used to cook all the time when we had no money.
Yeah. He told me that like I think his great grandfather or like some uncles had actually made the bricks. Like they were the bricklayers
Of the Seven Ward.
Of the Seven
Yeah,
Ward.
and they helped build the French Quarter.
I didn't know that.
Of course, the Creoles.
Huh.
They helped build the city.
He on the North Shore now.
Well, John is living, on the North Shore.
Yeah.
He like it,
He like it. It's beautiful up there. I just think he's too far away though.
but he living good over there.
He is enjoying himself.
Yeah.
I think I saw another hand back there. Maybe not.
Anybody else?
Oh.
Oh, my friend.
Oh, over here, yeah.
Question: when you write a theme or you hear it on television, do you still get a little royalty from that? How do they track that?
What you say?
Do you get a little royalty when they play one of your songs?
Yes.
And it's on a movie or a TV show.
Uh-huh.
Somebody uses it for introduction. Do you still get a little piece of that?
Absolutely.
How do they?
We got BMI track it. Either the production company, they'll get a license from probably Harry Fox if you with Harry Fox, or if you or they'll send you a license to you, and it'll be between you and the production company.
But when it's accidental and it happens, you still get a little piece of the action.
Yeah, you'll get something. Yeah.
I mean, you should. I mean, it's
If they
incredible.
catch it, I mean, you'll get it. Yeah.
Mailbox money, you tell me about.
Absolutely. You're a musician?
No, all my kids are. My wife is.
Oh, okay.
I can't play a note.
Yeah, I mean that applies to music. It even applies to boxing.
Yeah.
Like if you on a bar, you play like a boxing match, and you don't pay for that match, they'll come after you.
Absolutely.
I saw a hand over here.
Mechanical rights.
Mechanical rights, yes.
Yeah, I'm just going to dovetail off what you mentioned.
Yeah.
The first time I ever saw you play was about 7 years ago.
Uh-huh.
I think it very much in what you're going to be doing today, closing out
Yes.
French Quarter. I remember you brought brought your wife out,
Yeah.
and this is a long time ago, but she a nurse at Tulane?
Yeah, she was a nurse at LSU.
Okay. And
She was a professor of nursing.
oh, is she?
Yeah,
Really?
she the singing nurse.
Well, I
Singing nurse. I love that. Singing nurse.
can't remember what the tune was. Might have been something.
She was singing some at last Stormy Monday.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
And I remember you bringing. Did you have a couple of little girls?
yeah, we had a boy and a girl.
A boy and a girl.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a while ago.
They're older now. They at LSU.
Okay.
They're students.
They're getting
For-
older. Are they interested in music?
They sing in church.
Good.
But the boy is going to be a doctor. He's studying at LSU, and the daughter is going to be a dentist.
So a singing doctor and a singing dentist?
And a professor in nursing.
Yeah, well, they take after their mama.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
One thing impressed me about you. You're a real family man.
Oh, I'm close to my family. That's all I got, family and friends.
So real early in the interview, you mentioned the very occasional, like not too often, like the hard days you deal with. Is that like, do you deal with that just like through playing music? Do you deal with that through family? Is it through church? How do you deal with when things just don't feel quite right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I ain't felt that way in a long time. I mean, everything is good.
That's good to hear.
Yeah,
That's good to hear.
everything is lovely.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
And you were saying earlier that you think that the future is bright for the kids who come up behind you. The
Yeah.
city's future seems to be bright. Is there anything particularly you want to happen, or just keep it going like it's going?
I think the main thing would be the people in New Orleans looking good, the city looking good, everybody sounding good, the food is good.
Mhm.
I think the main thing we got, like in the Trim area, it's a little too much gentrification, I think.
Yeah, I
and
feel
the
you.
people can't afford to live in their own city, and the musicians is. I mean, that can be something. That can be something too.
Well, it'd be nice if people, worked on that. I mean, I went to 35, so I was in the Treme all
Well,
the
you
time.
know how the city is changing.
I know how it's changing. I know how it's
And
changing.
we got so many different neighborhoods. I mean, everywhere you go, it's changing.
Yeah, yeah.
But change is good sometimes.
I mean, it's opportunities.
Yeah, it's opportunities, but it's gentrification all over the city going on. But the people are struggling to meet, just to live in their own neighborhoods.
Right.
Yeah,
But, I think, fortunately, like you said earlier, the culture is so strong.
the culture is strong. It's surviving.
Yeah, I was in Portland, Oregon a few weeks ago, and I didn't know much about like their African American background, like the neighborhoods. And I was staying like downtown. It was like a very pretty area, and his brother told me, said, well, this is where the black folks should live at.
Right.
When I look around New Orleans, you have gentrification, but it's not to that level. And so I just feel like we're lucky that people are still playing music, still making pots of gumbo, still making red beans and rice, still having these family days, and that's going to survive the man or what.
Well,
I
that's
think
the true New Orleans.
that's
right?
true New Orleans.
Yeah.
Like I feel like even if something happened with like another big storm, we would just come back again. We got to have this.
Well, where else would we go?
Right.
It's our home.
Yeah, I'm not going to Idaho.
And I wouldn't feel. I mean, trust me. When
I'm sorry, you're from Idaho out there? Okay.
trust me, New Orleans is it. It's for me, New Orleans.
No, I understand that.
I mean, you could be anywhere else in the world, but New Orleans is close to my heart so much.
It's nothing like it.
No, I wouldn't want to be nowhere.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to stop today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
out, and thank you, Mr. James Andrews.
I'll see
for-
y'all at the
for your
gig.
beautiful music.
Thank you.
Go here and play.
James Andrews, y'all. Maurice, Carlos, Ruffin, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. All right. I want to thank everybody who came out, all the musicians and the interviewers on this stage. Go hear some music, and we'll be back next year with a more scintillating conversation. Thank you all very much.